Now, as I talk about the pursuit of dreams, whenever people around the world hear this idea of, follow your dreams, the pursuit of dreams, the first thought that comes to their minds is, oh, this is something for the young people, something for maybe, high school students or university students. But honest to God reality is that at that age, people are not ready. So because you have to go through a process of letting your forebrain grow a bit to make, for life to beat you a bit, to understand that the pursuit of dreams is actually so much more than the romantic American idea of going, making something happen, chasing some ideal around the world, or wanting to retire at 40 years old, or maybe, what mothers tell their young people up front, go chase your dream, but behind the scenes they hope they will not do it and just go get a job. So dreams is about your full expression of yourself in this world, in spirit and in truth, truthfully who you really are, to be expressed outwards. So it's not about getting stuff, it's about expressing yourself truthfully in this world. And the biggest blockage in front of people following their dreams is not what most gurus or speakers say, the biggest blockage is yourself. That's not true. The biggest blockage is the social environment you find yourself in. When you suppress the truth, so you've seen that whenever you suppress what's in your heart for a longer period of time, it becomes toxic, it rottens on the inside, and it becomes toxic, and that becomes pain. And what happened in my country, most people, because they've lived with so much pain ongoing pain for years, the only way to cope with the pain was alcohol abuse, and they drank themselves to death. This is the scientific term. So, because I grew up in this kind of environment with so much hurt, I didn't understand why are my friends having these behaviors, why are my relatives, doing the same thing, destroying their lives every single day. It took me about 30 years to actually be able to heal, and first of all to understand, and then when I finally got it, I was able to forgive and to heal. So when I was 30 years old, I went to NASA in Florida, and there I got the chance to be mentored by the person who built Hubble Space Telescope, the most famous telescope in history. So his story is extremely interesting because he spent 15 years and $2 billion, which is about the same amount of money the US government is now paying to rebuild World Trade Center, the two towers. So he spent $2 billion building this state-of-the-art satellite that failed. So it was one of the most painful failures at NASA. So after he fixed it, he went on a journey to figure out how is it possible that some of the best minds that he had, he was the leader of the program. So he had the best scientists, the best engineers in the world, Nobel Prize winners, the cream of the minds around the world, and they failed. So he asked the question, how could these people, the most brilliant individuals in the world, fail? And he discovered, after some years of research, that so what happened at NASA, they put these brilliant people in a terrible environment, constantly beating them psychologically, mentally, emotionally, threatening them to do the work on time. And in this environment, what happened is, unconsciously, they just rationalized everything away. They hid any kind of error, any kind of mistake they made. They just kept quiet, didn't talk about it, and one after the other, it led to the failure. And he said to me, kid, I know you have dreams, because he came to Romania, so we drove around the country. I had time to pick his brains. He said, I understand you have dreams, I understand you want to do something in life, but it's not how smart you are. It's never how smart you are, it's never how powerful your will is, how strong your will is. It has nothing to do with that. If you want to make something out of your life, the social environment you find yourself in, and the people you surround yourself with, they are the ones who drive everything. So don't be naive and think that you are so strong that you can make it by yourself. It's the environment that drives everything. The most difficult thing for people to do, and as a leader, as an individual, because we are all the leaders of our own lives, the most difficult thing to do is to look at the reality as it is and face it. That's the most difficult thing for people to do, to acknowledge the uncomfortable truth of the situation. The social environment can be a family, can be a classroom environment, can be a work environment, can be the wrong people you surround yourself with, the friendships you develop, that drive the decisions, the behaviors, and the results. So it's not, the creepy things of history, it's the tiny things day to day of what the others are influencing upon us. And it took me 10 years to finally free my mind from the bondage of the environment to understand the answer. And they said, your dreams in this life are not about what you get and what you achieve, but they are about your unique expression of yourself in spirit and in truth. And this last line, in spirit and in truth, that's the key to know from the very beginning, will ideas work or will they not work? When something comes from the deepest part of your being, from the deepest part of your heart, from your spirit, and you want to honor that because that's why, simply because you want to do it, is what you value, is what you feel called to do. You don't care about the environment, you don't care about if it's possible or not, you don't care about how much it will cost. All you care about is honoring what comes from your spirit. On the long run, if you don't give up on the journey, it will always work. Whenever the reasons are because you want to make money, because you want to, it's a market opportunity, because somebody told you of a good, like a good scheme to follow, or, all the reasons, they will not work. And even if they do work, they will never be fulfilling and they will become a total drainage of energy. When you honor what's in your heart and you rise above your belief, because whenever it comes from your spirit, it's bigger than your mind can actually grasp. If that belief of it's impossible doesn't kill the idea and you transcend it, on the long run, it will always work. So it's the right thing because the more you work, the more energy you get. On the other side, if the reasons are impure, after a week, a month, the moment something from outside hits you and stops you, you give up because there's no energy to continue. So the mind has to become the servant of your heart, because otherwise, if the mind is driving the vehicle, first of all, you will never get there. And the mind, if it's not a servant of the spirit, it becomes a terrible prison. The second one is what's in your hand. Whenever if I ask anybody in this world, what is your dream and why don't you go do it? The answer is always the same. Well, because I don't have, and then the list comes. I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the courage, I don't have the age, I don't have the network. There's always a long list of I don't haves. Now, whatever we don't have is not of our concern, because for the obvious reason it's not there. You don't worry about your neighbor's house, you worry about what you have, right? So if you can get people to focus, just forget about what you don't have, but instead look and write down, what do I have in my own hands? What knowledge do I have? What do I know to do? What do I have physically, And when people think about their dreams, they think, oh, I have to please many people, many people have to like me. And it's not true. This perception kills the dreams. All you must find is one single person to believe in you. And if you find them, and they open the door, you have the fulfillment of your dream. Is the one that breaks down the walls in front of you. The third one is, who do you best serve with what you have in your hand? Because I don't know what your dreams are, but if you really think about them and give them a chance, you will always need people to help you. You can't do it by yourself. I mean, if you want to become a writer, you need to come and speak to Ebony and the team. Can I come and present? Or if you want to go to the South Pole, you have to serve somebody in the process, right? So you're giving your best service, asking yourself the question, who can I serve with what I have? And how can I make their lives, their companies, better? How can I make sure they become more successful with what I know? That's the key that opens the doors. He's not thinking, oh, I need the money. The money is the last thing on the list that you need. Because if you think about your dreams, most of the times you need money to get something else. It's not the cash and the paper things. You'll hear love calling you. You will have to die to the old and be born into the new. You will have to leave the old environment behind. You have to leave what you know, and you have to be born and to grow into the unknown. Because if you don't step into the unknown, you will just wither and die in the old environment. So whenever you have a calling of your dreams, you have to step into the unknown and just trust the process of growth. Because otherwise you'll never grow.